So let's talk about the chipping setup. Now I believe most golfers are aware that your ball should be back in your stance and your hands should be forward. The question is how far back and how far forward. Unfortunately, through my daily instruction, I see a lot of players with their ball way too far back and their hands way too far forward. This setup position right here causes two major problems. Number one, this is a pitching wedge, but when I set up at this angle, this pitching wedge is more like a 7-iron. That's going to cause a problem. Number two, this setup causes a very steep angle of attack. And when you get too steep, the leading edge tends to dig into the turf, and we hit something you've heard before, I'm sure, called a chunk shot. That's when your club's coming so steep, you hit the ground first and the ball goes about 5 feet. So we want to get rid of that problem. Here's the fix. Number one, if the pin's in the back of the green, I'm a big fan of chipping with a 7-iron. But instead of taking the pitching wedge and awkwardly turning it into a 7-iron, I would just select my 7-iron to chip with. That's number one. Then I would make sure the ball's in the middle of my stance. There's no need to have the ball further back in the middle. And then I would have my hands slightly ahead of the golf ball, not way ahead of the golf ball. My final step is to take my upper body and simply move that weight over my front leg a little bit, and I leave it there the entire stroke. Here's the great news. If you get this chipping setup routine down, you will have one decision at game time, and that is simply, which club am I going to chip with? Sound like a plan, everybody? Oh, yeah. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Well, before we get to the very exciting FootJoy contest, I would love for Casey Garwood to come up. How about a nice applause for Casey? All right, Casey, so what club are you holding?
Pitching wedge.
Okay, that's a good, the green's here in mint condition, so even though we're going uphill a little bit, I think that's the right club. I want you to get in a perfect setup for me, okay? So let's get set up with the ball in the middle of your stance. So if I look down, the ball should be right there. We're gonna move your hand slightly ahead of the golf ball, and then I'm gonna bump a little weight into that front leg, and you're gonna keep it there the entire shot. Okay, and then we're gonna take it back and through with our arms and shoulders, keep the wrist quiet, look at where you wanna land it, and let's see what happens, okay? I'm gonna step back with this awesome Tri-State Buick GMC team. When you're ready, let's give it a try. Wow, look at this chip shot, everybody. That is a thing of beauty. Casey Garwood, oh, right over the lip of the hole. Casey, you were a model student today. I hope you learned a lot with the tip.
Thanks for the tip, Doug. I really appreciate it.
For your private or group golf instruction with PGA golf professional Doug Hendricks, go to winninggolftv.com or send an email to doug@rdhgolf.com.